hopefully that's enough. Okay.
Well, we can restart by admitting our mistake.
Do we want to do the whole intro again? I don't think we need to do that.
Oh no, I was just talking about we have all the beginnings.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we fucked up again, of course. I didn't have enough room on my phone, and the video stopped recording. Didn't realize it until like a couple minutes afterwards. But what we are about to say, so weird because of conspiracies and shit.
The good thing is the last couple episodes we've done.
Yeah, we haven't really had
so
many issues.
No, you go through a couple and you're bound to hit a kink.
Yep. Yeah. So what we were gonna say. What we were gonna say. So weird. My eyeshadow matches Jordan's beer.
Yeah, weird story. So, I didn't talk to Kelly until I said, hey, heading over now. Stopped at the store, got a drink, came over here, came in the door, she saw what I was holding, and she said, oh my god, that's so weird because I'm wearing the same shade of eye makeup. What do you call it? Eyeshadow. So, it's the same color. Same exact color.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact color, which is weird because this happened one other time.
Yeah.
And I believe it was blue Raz.
Blue, which blue's not very common to wear, so
no.
It was pretty weird coincidence.
So cool.
So cool. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about different haunted places around the world.
5 each.
5 each. I did 4, but I have a lot of information.
I did 5
on those 4 places.
A couple of mine are just
like smaller.
Kind of like, well, yeah, they're smaller. They're directly to the topic.
Oh my god! If it stops filming this time, I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
We think it's fixed.
It should be. I just freed up like 10 gigabytes of space on my phone.
Yeah, so we had to take a TV timeout.
Yeah.
And
Oh
delete.
my god. So much stuff.
Off of Kelly's phone so we could continue bringing you guys
the information.
The Tipsy Informants.
Okay.
That is us.
So, our topic, most haunted places in the world. I've researched some. Jordan's researched some. And we're going to go back and forth and tell you about them. Okay. It's still recording?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Does it look like it's still recording?
Yeah, we're 52, 53. I can keep going.
Okay, no, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Okay. So I'm going to go first. Yep. All right, first haunted place.
She's number 1.
Is... I feel like I lost my flow now. Sorry, guys. We had a good flow going at first.
Do you want to call and order
just kept
something?
getting... No, it's alright.
Hi, can I have 1 large flow?
Sounds like a gross, Jell-O dish.
A gross Jell-O dish.
You know.
1 large Jell-O flow.
Wow. I hope they heard that so it's not just us going.
Motorcycle.
Yeah. Alright. The Tower of London.
Tower of London, people.
Tower of London.
Focus.
So the background, built in 1078 by William the Conqueror after he won a rebellion in England and became king. Hell yeah.
I should have a Tipsy Informants crown.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Well, that's your tinfoil hat. That's your crown.
I have to make one.
Is it even? Is it
We're
level?
still going.
Is it level?
It's fine.
All right, it's fine.
It's
you
fine.
guys can deal with it.
We're good.
We're good. Okay. He's just gonna say that, or else we'll never get through this.
Yeah,
night.
we're good. We're good. We're fine. Even if we're like this, we're still fine.
We're fine.
We're good. Keep going.
We're singing like the Titanic. We're
Green
fine.
eyeshadow.
We're fine.
Yay.
All right. So, originally used as his castle, he built it basically to intimidate people and take up the skyline because there were no big buildings and castles like that in London or basically in London.
In London, because where the hell else are you gonna?
Exactly.
Are you gonna go tippy top and be like, "Hello, Africa"?
You could. So he built it to intimidate people and to protect his power, basically because he just became king and he was kind of nervous about being overthrown. So that was how the Tower of London started. And over time, different monarchs that lived there built up the surroundings with walls and towers, and actually pulled up a picture.
A lot of towers.
A lot of towers. We'll put it up, here, but... Well, actually, there was mainly just, like, the Tower of London and then the 4 pillars.
There was the bordering wall.
Yeah.
And then inside the bordering wall, there was a tower.
Yeah.
And he probably just was in there.
Yeah, so he started with the actual, like, castle tower part.
You can look it up yourself, too.
And, I'll put the picture up here.
Or you could just look it up. No, I'm just kidding.
But, so he started with, like, this. Yeah. And then over time, other monarchs built that first inner wall and then a second outer wall, basically, to have, like, double, like, reinforcements, basically.
Yeah, because if you get over the first one, unfortunately, you're going to have to get over the second one. And if you get over the second one...
Then you got to get into the tower.
And if you get into the tower...
Well, you're
still not going to get into the tower.
Oh.
No, you're not going to get into the tower. They're going to take you up to the top of the tower, and they're going to be like...
Okay.
That's it.
All right. So
that's how they did things back then, don't you know?
That's true. So over the years, the castle was basically used for, or the tower was basically used for different things. It was the home for like a lot of kings and queens when they were in London, but it was also used to mint coins, which I think is kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Creating and storing armor, as well as storing and protecting the crown jewels.
The crown jewels.
And the famous Yeoman guards. The
guys that we were talking about.
The famous like London guards that
black furry hat.
Black fur tall hat, red, coats.
I saw one of them slip.
Did you? That's so funny.
Not when I went there because I've never been there. But on a video I saw one of them. It was a stormy day and he tried to click his heels and he slipped and kaboom.
That's really funny.
What are they called again?
Yeoman?
Yeo, I'm in trouble.
Maybe it's like Yeoman.
What about like Yeo down?
You like instead of like ye old man, it's like Yeoman. I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing it terribly.
Yeoman. It's like fucking.
They should do like that. Should be like a comic book, like superhero. You know how funny would that be?
It'd be very funny.
He's like rockets out of his shoes, and I don't know. It'd just be funny.
I can visualize it. It is funny.
So they stand in front of the tower. So that's, I think, the area where they're always standing. That's like famous.
Yes. Yeah, because they have
always
like
booths.
Filmed
and stuff. Yeah, and they're just like.
They just stand there.
And the first king to ever have them stand there was actually King Henry VIII. And this was actually, the tower was, I feel like the most famous time for the tower is during King Henry VIII's kind of era, the Tudor era, when the tower was mostly used, or it was only used really as a prison for enemies to the crown.
Hell yeah.
Or basically enemies that King Henry VIII just wanted to get rid of.
They're either gonna, mess with them or off them or keep them.
Yeah, there was like a lot of murder, torture, and death surrounding
murder, torture, death.
The tower.
Sounds like a castle.
Yep. So Henry VIII actually had 3 of his wives beheaded at the Tower of London.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Yeah, after accusing them of either adultery or treason.
Learning about these like different castles in different parts of the world, that is absolutely pretty damn common.
Yeah, especially with Henry VIII.
Well,
he's famous for taking up, I think it was 7 wives, because he was like a delusional man, and he would basically get sick of one, and then he would accuse... No, that's literally what happened.
I know, which is, I find it funny.
He would get sick of one, accuse them of... Like, Anne Boleyn was accused of adultery. She was accused of witchcraft, because apparently she had, like, a 6th finger. Yeah, and then Catherine Howard, I think, was accused of adultery, and then Lady Jane Grey was accused of treason.
But like, if everybody knows what's gonna happen if you do this stuff, like maybe the ladies didn't know they were gonna get caught. Like
maybe
cheating.
I don't even know if they actually did,
because these guys make up their own rules.
Exactly. I don't even know if they.
It's his castle. That's like, oh, that's my apartment.
I don't even know
house.
if they actually did. I mean, they might have, but I don't think. Like, Lady Jane Grey was only 17, and she was like his third or fourth wife, so she probably knew like not to mess up.
Yeah.
Because I think she was his wife maybe after Anne Boleyn or after Catherine Howard. Was she even one of his wives? I don't know. But you would think at that point, like, she would be like, okay, he killed off a couple of his other wives. Maybe I'll behave myself. That's what I would think. I would be like, if I'm going to be queen, leverage. I need to...
Or maybe he just really liked her and she could, like, do no wrong. Or...
Oh, clearly not, because they were beheaded.
Yeah, they were beheaded.
But, so what's crazy is after they were beheaded, their bodies were, like, quickly buried under the Chapel of St. Peter, which is in, like, the Tower of London. So they literally just, like, quickly buried their bodies underneath, because King Henry VIII literally gave no shit. Like, he didn't care at all. He was literally just like, all right, bury them real quick, get them out of the way so I can marry my new wife.
He could do what he wanted, and...
King Henry VIII was crazy. He even changed
I don't really even know that much about the guy. And
I was just like,
that.
really fascinated by him. Well, not by him, but more like, I really liked Anne Boleyn. And then Queen Elizabeth I was his daughter.
I really gotta learn more about this.
And
I'm too focused
there were
on
these
the hauntings.
there were these books, like young adult books, about like fictional, like semi-fictional, but about like Anne Boleyn and basically all the Tudor women. There was these like young adult fictional books that I read growing up.
Right.
So then it made me like really interested in it. And my stepmom is really interested in like Henry VIII and stuff. So
like
that's just why I know a good amount about it, because I was like interested in it when I was younger.
Because that's the difference between then and now. I mean, you could build a castle, you got the money. I wonder where they got like the funds.
The people.
Well,
taxes.
Yeah, a different kind of taxes.
Yeah, but monarchs are like famous for basically for taxing like the non-wealthy to fund all of their extravagance. That's what happened with like the French Rebellion and or the French Revolutionary War and stuff, because basically they were taxing and taxing and taxing
until famine,
and then like living in luxury and stuff and not doing anything about it. And a lot of these monarchs are like that because they just don't care. They're like,
excuse me, can you pass the bucket? I gotta go.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Although so their bodies though were removed and properly buried in 1876 by whoever was, I forget who it was, but yeah, whoever was queen at the time was like, we need to pay these women actual respect, and they reburied their bodies properly and gave them each like they basically made like a memorial for them. Yeah. Okay. But so it's
from the dead.
Not back from the dead, but basically the haunts. Anne Boleyn is one of the most famous ghosts that's said to haunt the Tower of London, which would totally make sense because she was basically obsessed with becoming queen. She became like Henry VIII's like lover when he was married to. Oh man. I think that's when he was married to Catherine Howard.
What a web.
Maybe not Catherine Howard. He was married to another Catherine. His first wife, basically. Anne Boleyn was his second wife, and she basically got Henry VIII to fall in love with her and like cast aside his first wife. Okay. Yeah. And then basically I feel like she kind of lived, even though she was kind of like a shitty person for doing that, at the same time she had like a really hard time in their relationship because she was trying to basically bear an heir to the throne, and she and so that needed to be like a male heir. So she kept having like miscarriages and all this stuff.
That sucks.
And she did wind up having a baby girl who became Queen Elizabeth I. But King Henry really, really wanted a male heir. So basically, he was like, well, Anne Boleyn is clearly not capable of giving me a male heir. So he concocted this story, about like adultery and stuff with her. Okay. Yeah, and he had his sights on a much younger girl at that point. So I feel like she had a pretty tumultuous time, and she was so like keen on becoming queen that I could picture her spirit being like
powerful.
Powerful and around. Like unrestful. Yeah. You know, I can picture her spirit not really not wanting to leave, you know? Yeah. So, but anyways.
Yeah, like 8 times. Yeah.
So, she's seen by a bunch of guards, like throughout the 1800s and stuff. This is where the ghost shit comes in. Enough with the history lesson. The Tower of London is the one that I have the most history on, because there's just so much history involved there.
There's a lot of stuff rich in history.
The other stuff I'm going to talk about is mostly just like.
Because imagine that people have their houses and people have their apartments and they have this and they have their girlfriends and their wives and stuff. Like, this dude built a castle, and it was his way.
And it's been around for 1,000 years.
Yeah, and it's his way or no way. And
for all of them, it's just so crazy how they used to live back then. They
absolutely.
Imagine a ruler doing that now. They would. No. Everyone would be like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?"
Yeah, it's like, but you make your own rules.
Yeah.
You do what you want, and adultery and all that shit just kind of goes.
Imagine being like beheaded too for adultery instead of being like, "Well, we'll get divorced."
Yeah, we'll spend more on the divorce than we did on the wedding. When it just could be ended with a sword. Apparently when you get beheaded, you're still conscious for like 7 seconds.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like if you get beheaded and your head rolls and focuses, you can still see. And yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh my god, that is crazy. I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Fun fact.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes sense because your brain still has like blood and oxygen.
Absolutely,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's so like that happens so quick that like you're still conscious.
That's crazy. That sucks. Because you probably like feel the fucking pain. Well, I guess not if your head is severed from like your nerves and stuff.
That's another podcast.
Yeah. But
back to the hauntings.
So apparently you can see Anne Boleyn's ghost walking around carrying her head under her arm. That's like a pretty common spirit that they see. Yeah.
It's like you're talking to somebody and then the head is kind of like reacting to you. That's kind of funny.
That's like a pretty common spirit that's been seen. There was one guard though who said, I didn't write this down, so I don't remember like the dates or anything, but I think it was in the 1800s. There was one guard who said he like looked into a window in like the area where she was held, because it was like before she was beheaded, before her coronation, King Henry VIII like renovated a bunch of like the castle area, so he basically had her stay there, so at least she wasn't in some sort of like dungeon or anything before her death. She was staying like in her own room.
No, she was comfortable.
But so apparently in like her like, I don't know if it was her room or her like wing kind of area that she had. Hey Ranger. But so some guard looked into a window that was in that area that she stayed in, and he literally saw like a whole scene of like spirits, basically. He said where he saw like lights on, and then he saw Anne Boleyn and like basically like people of her court and stuff like having like a feast.
Yeah, they were.
And he said
a feast full.
I think he said he saw it for like about 10 seconds or something, and then it like kind of disappeared. Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
That's pretty cool.
And that's
pretty cool.
And that's not the only kind of like scene that gets played out.
That's like some of those scenes in movies with mirrors.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, you'll be in the bathroom and you'll open the door and there's a mirror and then you'll close it and you'll see something.
Yeah. That's not the only scene that gets played out, though, at the Tower of London. So there's several different people have claimed that they've seen this, but basically the Countess of Salisbury, they see, like, her murder played out. So she refused to basically, like, lay her head down on the scaffold to be executed.
Right.
And so the executioner literally, like, had to chase her around, and then was, like, with either, like, his sword or, I'm assuming, an axe, literally, like, hacked her to death, because he just, like,
he
ran around. Yeah, he could, like, he basically was just, like...
He was just swinging at her.
swinging at her, literally, and people say that they see, like, 2 ghosts, like, reenacting this.
Him running around, her trying to get away.
It's crazy, like, places like this where there's just so much bad energy that, like, the scene, it's almost, like, stuck in time.
Yeah, it sucks for her.
Yeah, where the spirit, it's just so much trauma that, like, the spirits are just, like, stuck in that time.
They're in limbo.
It's crazy.
I'm sure.
Or I wonder if it's even their full spirit or just, like, a part of it. Because why would the executioner also be stuck in that time? It's not like he died there, but maybe just, like, a part of him because it's such a traumatic thing that happened.
Or maybe her energy is just so strong.
And she was like, come back here. If I have to stay here, you're staying with me.
She's just holding them.
Alright, let me go through these other ones quickly so we can go into the next one.
It's kind of funny because this is number 1.
I know. I told you. I was like, I'm gonna talk for so long. Alright.
It's okay though. I mean, this castle has...
It is so much.
It has the majority of what the hell we're... My stuff really isn't... I mean, it's in different parts of the world.
Yeah. But
it's kind of consolidated. It's just haunted.
Yeah, some of my other ones are a little bit shorter too. There's just so much that goes into this place.
What has happened?
So, Henry VI ghost supposedly haunts the tower because he was actually murdered during the War of Roses, and he is Henry VIII's grandfather, I believe.
Sounds like they were playing a game called War of Roses.
Yeah.
And that's how he died.
But so he was murdered while praying in the king's private chapel. So it's pretty crazy too, the history with this. So I'm pretty sure Henry VI was the ruler, and then King Edward the Fourth overtook during the War of Roses. And then I believe either King Henry VIII or his father wound up taking the crown back. So it's kind of like a back and forth kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, like the fight over the crown. And
Yeah, but this is over, like, this
especially
isn't just like one evening.
But, well, it's not like you get elected with this. It's like the only way back then you could actually become ruler is if you were, like, in the bloodline. Yeah. So it's like the only way to actually do that was by overtaking the throne.
So if you wanted it that bad, you would just kill the dude.
Yep.
And then, poof,
so,
the dude.
But so later on, King Henry's, enemy, Edward the Fourth, which I believe took over the throne, and then when the throne was taken back, his 2 sons were held in the tower, and they were like young, like 10 and 12, and they disappeared and were never seen again. So people think they were murdered.
Yeah.
And then 2 skeletons were found in 1933 that are believed to be the 2 young boys, but people see the apparition of them holding hands, and they'll like disappear into walls.
Oh wow. I could see that.
A couple others are Bella Stewart died of starvation while being held for marrying without royal permission, which is like, come on. Especially that was during Queen Elizabeth I's reign, and she was supposed to be like kind of like I thought she was like the better queen and the better monarch of her time, but
was she the bitch?
No, that was Queen Mary of Scots.
Queen Mary was a bitch.
Yeah, they're sisters. There's like, if you research it, we could maybe even do an episode on the Tudors if you guys wanted, because it's like a pretty crazy and twisted Like
you think relationships
basically
are
half brothers
complicated.
and sisters. Yeah, it's a crazy fucking family.
This is bananas. This is like a lot of info. I give props to those historians.
I know. All right, last thing with this. So Henry VIII's armor is said to be haunted, which I wouldn't be surprised because guy is a total dick.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been moved basically from room to room, put on display throughout the tower, and basically any room you go in that his armor is in, you get the feeling of being suffocated and strangled until you leave the room.
Yeah, he was a bad.
And I'm like, yeah, that would make sense that there's like bad energy surrounding that.
Everything.
But yeah, so that's basically what I got for the Tower of London. London.
Tower of London. A lot of shit has happened at the Tower of London.
Seriously.
Mine,
Alright.
my first one,
What you
however,
got?
is pretty friggin' straightforward. So mine was Langham Hotel, which is located in in London.
London, you
See,
say?
yes.
I can
do.
actually do a good British
Spot
accent.
tea.
I'm just trying to like
I'll have a spot of drink.
be obnoxious. Have a spot of wine.
Obnoxious. No.
Me never.
Never. So this place is a hotel in London. Has about
London.
500 rooms and suites. It was also built in 1865. Apparently, a lot of ghosts are here. Like a lot of ghosts.
Spooky.
However, I believe I read that five out of all those ghosts make regular appearances. But the one
Top 5 ghosts.
Top 5 ghosts, but it was also owned by the BBC.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
It's kind of weird.
it is weird, but the one thing that did happen, who does come around and walk the halls and do all that stuff, was a prince, and he was a German prince.
Keep going.
Drink. German prince. He apparently, I don't know why. I tried to find out why, but I didn't get anything. All I got was that he threw himself out of an upper story window and plummeted to his death.
That's good.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's real good.
Yeah, man. All these flavors are good. There's punch and this one, Tropical Storm, the Blue Raz, and this, that, and the other thing. And they're not too, like, sweet.
Yeah, I know, that's delicious.
It's so good. So, yeah. He chucked himself out of the window. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe he was just done being a prince.
Sad.
Maybe he was done being a prince.
Maybe he was
something
pushed
happened.
out.
Maybe he was pushed out. I didn't find anything, though. I really didn't. But,
It's probably because they just don't know.
yeah. They maybe just don't know. But guests have seen his apparition moving around, walking around. The other ghosts, they don't really know why they're there. They don't know if they've perished there. They don't know anything
They're just,
about
like,
them.
there?
They're just there walking around. I mean,
Okay.
people die. So,
People die.
people die. Those are the only 2 things that are guaranteed in this life: death and taxes. Moving on. But what was that? What was that I read? Room 333 was apparently the most haunted. A newscaster actually he was there from the BBC. He actually woke up to see a fluorescent ball of light
Oh, like
in
an
the room.
orb.
Yep. Which
Interesting. Does it say around what time?
no,
Oh.
doesn't say around what time, but I'm guessing 3 in the morning.
Yeah, like the number 3
Yeah,
is like
is very
very prominent.
of the witching
The witching
golden
hour,
witching hour.
Just with a bunch of stuff. Like there's the Holy Trinity as well.
Let me read to you what
The number
what,
3 is just pretty significant in the paranormal world.
So this fluorescent ball, it apparently took a human shape,
Oh.
and it hovered about 2 feet. This is what he said. It hovered about 2 feet above the floor, and the lower portion of its legs were missing.
Okay, well that makes sense with an apparition.
Well, yeah.
Because a
but,
lot
like,
of times it's like, because it probably takes so much energy for a ghost to like, or a spirit to produce itself that like, why would they, you don't need legs, you're floating.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah,
But
they're gonna focus on the you know, the important parts.
Have you ever seen, like, Victorian-style evening wear?
Yeah.
Because apparently this is what it was wearing.
A lot of, like, that's what, like I would...
Just like a...
Like, period pieces.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed when
Pajamas.
you do a lot of, like, research with a lot of these apparitions is that's how they're able to kind of identify who they might be or where they're from, because a lot of these apparitions they'll see wearing, like, obviously clothes from their era.
The only other weird thing was this only happens in October.
Spooky.
It's good.
Spooky.
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 I don't know if there's
Spooky
really
stories in London.
In London, we're talking about creepy stuff. The Tipsy Informants are here. We're tipsy and we're informants.
Yeah, that's
I'm
us.
You. Yeah, he said that during the night, suddenly, like, the tap water in the bathroom would come on.
Oh, creepy.
Things would fly off the shelves, lights on and off. Basically, the way
Like
the
your
way
typical haunting shit.
the way he described this was anything you've seen on, like, you know, if you watch Ghost Adventures or what's another one? Paranormal State or
I used to love Ghost Adventures.
yeah, it's good shit. But he was freaked out. A lot of people were freaked out.
Yeah.
But to this day, stuff still happens. And I think...
It would be cool to go and, like, stay in, like, a haunted hotel or something, like the Stanley Hotel in Colorado, where The Shining was.
Yeah, but I mean, you could visit the Langham.
Yep, or we could visit the Langham.
Yeah, we can chill and catch apparitions, and so yeah, a shit ton of ghosts there. I mean,
Yo, ghosts,
you
want to be on the podcast? Hit us up. DM us.
Yeah. Send me a dead email.
Yeah, DE us.
Yeah, but I mean that was pretty much. I mean everything that's old. 1865 this place was.
Yeah.
So anything that's old, stuff has happened, and I feel like I almost feel like things back then, there wasn't any, like, you know, like computers, there wasn't any phones, there wasn't any of that stuff, so their energy was kind of like more harnessed in a way.
Kind of makes sense.
I mean, if it does make sense, let me know. If it doesn't make sense, let me know. But like nowadays we have lamps and we have lights and we have all this stuff that, I mean, they can use to their advantage. Maybe it's just not the right type of electricity. Maybe it's like our spirit electricity that helps the paranormal come out. So I'm thinking like people that go into the... Are you
talking about like...
Energy.
That help to like bring out the ghosts?
Yeah, like energy.
That
like
makes
sense. Like you have good positive energy, and maybe these ghosts like aren't trying to harm. I mean, they're freaky looking because of what happened to them.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them aren't trying to harm. I think honestly, a lot of them aren't even really aware that people are there. Like maybe they are.
I would hope that they are.
I think with some of them though, they're not. They're just like because they're probably in their own like dimension or realm where they're just kind of like doing their thing, and then it happens to like kind of just slip over.
Absolutely.
You know?
But I like to think that...
I think some of them are aware, but I think a lot of them aren't.
Interesting. Maybe I'll have to, research that.
Either that or they just don't care because they're like, I'm fucking dead, man. I don't got time for you.
Keeps me busy. Keeps me busy. But yeah.
It is interesting though how a lot of like apparitions and places are haunted are really old. I feel like you don't ever, and maybe it could just be that they're more well known and famous, you know, but I feel like you don't really hear of like hauntings of like recent deaths. Well, I guess there's an in medieval, but that's not really proven to be true or anything. It's only that one family that claimed they were haunted.
I don't know. Maybe it's just the severity of the death.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just what the person was feeling at the time and what the person that did what they did to the person.
Yeah.
I mean, doing that stuff is like intense.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, man.
It'd be interesting because, like, I think all of the things that we researched are pretty old. It would be interesting to find out, like, places that are haunted by more, like, recent spirits.
I mean, other than that, things have been... the only reason why you can still stay there is because of their renovation.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a lot of places do renovate because then they're haunted and people are like, oh, I want to stay there. Like us.
Well, yeah, basically. I mean, you can do a lot of stuff, but I don't know what the room conversion rate is. Because it says, what are pounds to dollars?
I have no clue.
I don't know either. But apparently you can, based on 2 people sharing one room, it's $265 a night.
Shit, that's expensive.
And suites are $500 a night.
Shit.
But it's also, they did like a multi-million-dollar renovation over 5 years. So everything's like luxury now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Because if you look up the pictures of it, I mean, I only have
If someone wants to pay for our rooms and then our flights...
Yeah, we would totally
do that. Go and do it.
And we would do, we would do podcasting increments.
Yeah, we would do other things there too, so...
Walk the halls.
Just a thought.
I mean...
I also need a passport.
I'm thinking about it right now, and I'm like thinking about all the things I want to do. Sit in the hallway.
Oh, I'm thinking like different things I want to do.
Oh,
in like England. Like I want to go to Stonehenge.
What? Didn't this website say there was other shit to do?
I'm sure it did.
Yeah,
all right, let's move on. All right, my turn.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, your turn. Back to ghosts. Shit.
Back to ghosts. So Poveglia Island in Italy. It even like sounds creepy. Poveglia.
Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
It sounds like a camera company.
Poveglia.
Poveglia 500. We'll just no.
Sounds creepy to me.
Yeah, Poveglia.
Poveglia.
Sounds like you would go to the doctor and he says you have Poveglia.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds like a disease to me. Alright, so it's a small island near Venice, and it was originally inhabited by people fleeing... Inhabited. By people fleeing, the barbarians that were taking over Europe. Mm-hmm. What a crazy fucking time. And they created like a small community on the island that eventually dwindled out. Because it's a really tiny island, and I'm sure a lot of people just... moved to the mainland.
Do you know, other than being small, do you know the size? It didn't say
no,
miles.
But it's small. It's small. I'll post up a picture. It's really small. Here, I'll show you. It's pretty tiny. Oh. It's this big. Yeah, it's really small.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's very small. But that's basically why, when the barbarians were taking over Europe and stuff, and these people moved to this island, they didn't even bother going over there because they were like, well, that's fucking small. We don't need that. Yeah, it's not big.
If I knew how big an acre was.
Pretty small. This is kind of interesting too. That almost looks like man-made, doesn't it? I mean, it must have been either that or they carved out all the sides. That hexagonal or octagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Hexagonal.
The octagonal shape of another island. Okay. Anyways.
It's a small island.
It's a small island with an even smaller island.
Would be again.
But okay. So these people live there and they dwindled out. It's not really important to anything I'm going to talk about.
No.
But so what?
That stuff she focuses on though.
I know.
That stuff she focuses on.
I just want you guys to have the full history.
The full history.
Even though it's not related to
the
paranormal
full history.
at all.
However, the full history doesn't really have fucking that
stuff
much to
you
do.
need to hear.
You need to know who died, how they died, and if they're still around.
But you might be interested.
It's true.
I'm giving you a well-rounded
I like it.
layout. I
All right,
just,
Professor.
I like
Keep
it.
going. Hey, if people don't like it, you know what you can do?
Suck
you
it.
I was gonna say fast forward, but suck it works.
So the bubonic plague.
Oh,
I know.
Terrible plague.
Hit Venice in 1348, and it's crazy how good like the records are for back then too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, and they exiled people with symptoms to Poveglia Island, as well as basically bodies of the already dead people.
Okay.
So like you've seen Monty Python, right?
Yes.
In the Holy Grail?
I don't really remember much of it.
Okay, but do you remember that like one of the scenes in the beginning where the guy's like walking around with the cart of dead people and he's like, "Bring out your dead, bring out your dead."
I don't remember saying that, but I remember the cart. I think.
Okay, and then
like
this
wheelbarrow?
one, yeah,
It was like a wooden cart.
and this one guy is like, "She's dead," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And he was like, "You're basically dead," and she's like, "No, I'm not." And they throw her on anyways.
Is that what happened there?
That's basically what happened. Is even people who weren't like fully dead, but were like clearly gonna die, and could infect other people.
Yep.
They like sent them off to this island.
Yeah, they couldn't.
And then they
basically couldn't bring them back. I mean,
they definitely couldn't. I mean, what else are you gonna do? Because it's kind of like especially back then, it's like you kind of have to do this because as horrible as it is, it was like wiping out the human population.
Yeah, it was bad.
So,
like really bad.
They basically created these like giant burn piles of people that were dead or people who were barely alive to the point where they like couldn't protest being thrown on a pile.
Okay.
And they burned, the bodies to try to like destroy the plague. So that happened in 1348, and then the same thing occurred during the Black Plague of 1630. They used the island again for the same thing.
You know what? I mean, honestly, they could. It works.
It works.
It's a way.
I guess.
It's a way. Well,
it's a way to handle it.
Well, it's a way
especially
from
back then.
Things. It's like you have a body of water.
Yeah, and it's like a small
separated.
Island. And it's like, and honestly, it's
like a cemetery.
If you were living back then, you don't really have many resources. It's like you would have no clue how to deal with this.
Absolutely
it's not like you can come up with a cure. And it's. I think the Black Plague killed out like 1/3 of the human population.
Shit ton of people.
A lot of people.
Shit ton of people to be exact.
Yeah, so it's like. That's already kind of like a pretty sinister start to the island.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly. It's a place with a wall with a body of water, and it's a good option.
Yeah.
Good option for good reason. I mean, that stuff was no joke.
Oh my god, look how cute she is.
I'm talking about the cat again.
She's just so cute. Oh.
We should.
Yeah, we'll keep going. I just love her so much. Okay. So in the 1800s, an insane asylum was built on the island.
Want me to read for you?
And no, it's okay.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
She got it.
But it wasn't made well. And it wasn't really made to like care for people. It was basically made as a way to basically ship people off that you didn't want to deal with.
Okay.
And like mentally unstable or insane people that like you didn't know what to do with. So you just shipped them off here.
That happened everywhere though.
It did happen everywhere, yeah.
Like if you look up like insane asylums.
It's fucking terrible.
Like families would have somebody who's like bipolar.
Yeah, and they would like give them a lobotomy, and it's like.
And then they would send them there just because they weren't normal.
The Kennedys did that. Yeah, I forget who it was. I mean, the Kennedys are a huge fucking family.
Fun fact.
But so a lot of the patients were severely mistreated, and they were basically a bunch of them, if not all of them, were experimented.
That's right, lobotomies from the thing.
What?
Lobotomies.
Yeah, so
without anesthesia.
So they were basically experimented on by these doctors and nurses basically just like horrible people went there to take care of these patients, but they kind of just used it as a free for all.
Yeah, but they also called it like in the name of science. That was like, in the name of science, I will give this person.
It's like, let's figure out everything that doesn't work.
They did experiments, you know, with the sinister knowledge of what would potentially happen, but they wanted it to happen so they could record what. Instead of what they think.
I think it was just sick people.
It's just fucked up in the name of science.
I think a lot of it is just like sick people, like people who would probably turn out to be like serial killers and stuff if they were like in society.
Modern day?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they could get.
Or even back then, like Jack the Ripper kind of shit. Yeah, they could get away with being like a terrible fucking human being. Oh my god.
She's worked out.
I just don't. It makes me really upset.
I know it does, but it's so funny for me.
But so there was this one doctor there who was supposed to be like the worst out of everyone.
Like Stalin?
I guess so. And he basically, it was said that he performed like unwanted lobotomies without anesthesia on like a bunch of patients.
Unfortunately,
imagine that having like your skull and your brain cut into without any like numbing. I don't.
Maybe alcohol was present.
I doubt it because he probably got off on them like screaming and stuff. Anyways, he eventually committed suicide, so he got what was coming to him, jumping from the bell tower.
I like the thing.
But so and it said that he basically committed suicide after being haunted by the spirits of
what did you expect?
Victims.
Honestly,
exactly.
What did you expect?
Yeah.
You do this to these people, and then you expect them not to come back and fuck with you?
Seriously. So basically the haunted shit that happens here is people claim that even though, so the bell tower that he jumped from has been removed, but apparently...
Maybe that's why this dude jumped.
Maybe.
Or got pushed or whatever.
You can still hear the chimes every now and then echoing, like, across the ocean. Like, if you're out on the water.
Cool.
People also claim to hear, like, moans of the patients and the plague victims coming from the island.
Yeah, it's probably the aftermath.
And then there's not, like, a ton of haunting stuff. There was, just like a lot of bad juju surrounding the island. So recently an Italian construction crew was basically supposed to rehabilitate and reconstruct the island, and out of nowhere they just like stopped working there and never went back. And people think it's because of like the bad energy that like surrounds the island, which totally makes sense.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised too, because there's like tons of bones there from like all the plague victims and stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if they like found probably like pits of bones and are like, I don't want to be here.
I'm surprised the place has grass.
I know.
But then again, maybe Mother Nature's, maybe that area was like, you know, ooh, this is like nutritious. I'm getting fed. Because, I mean, seriously, because look at it. It's not like it's a
there's lots of trees and stuff.
It's trees, and especially, look at the island.
I know.
Okay, cool.
Let me see.
Except for that one.
Yeah.
That's kind of fucked.
Yeah, that is.
Maybe they have somebody. Maybe they have somebody come out there and like rough it up and seed it. Rough it up and seed it.
And the only other thing about this place is Ghost Adventures, you know, visited the island, and I mean, I feel like you can't really trust Ghost Adventures videos anymore, but I don't really know. I used to love them when they first started because they were pretty like, sometimes there would be episodes where almost nothing would happen. And they would be like super skeptical, whereas now it's like every episode it's like, holy shit, ghosts.
I didn't like when more than 3 people, like any of the shows I've watched, I've never liked when more than 3 people have a camera or an EVP or digital voice recorder for EVPs. Anything more than that kind of ruins the authenticity of what they're doing. I don't need, if you want a base station and you're doing like an episode on a house, I can see going in the basement, setting up your cameras, blah, blah, blah. But for places like this, or other places they've done that's like castle related, or you have to go down hallways, 3 people, 3 cameras, no really bullshit, and no over dramatics, and I mean
that's
they
the
want
thing.
viewers.
Even if they had like a couple more people, it's just
some
like,
of their stuff. I think,
they need viewers, and that's the whole reason for it.
Some of their stuff I think is authentic.
I'm sure some of it's legit.
I want to believe.
It's just hard to believe all of it.
I do. I want to believe all of it, but some of it I'm like.
I know. But so Ghost Adventures, they visited the island and they basically like quarantined themselves on the island for 24 hours.
Good.
And they
no one else in, no one else out.
Yeah, they captured orbs on footage, like footsteps, and basically strange, like unidentifiable voices. So
that really, it also sucks because you go to a place like that expecting like, wow, a lot of shit happened here, and you don't really get any good results.
Yeah.
Maybe you have an off night, kind of like the way we did with the fucking
camera.
I don't want to talk about it. Moving on. I'm not really that hurt over it. I'm alright. But yeah, you don't really get as much activity in some places because they're bringing, it's just the vibe, man. Or the time of night, or...
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah, I guess too, if they only caught this stuff, it's not like anything. It's not like they try to fake like apparitions or anything. So I guess that's a good thing in there.
And they're very, like, the other thing is they're very like respectful of things. At least from what I see them recording and everything like that. They're respectful of where they're going, what they're doing. Sometimes they provoke very well, which I think is necessary sometimes.
If you're especially if you're trying to catch stuff on footage.
Yes. You're trying to catch stuff, so you want to kind of provoke and say, hey, we're not afraid of you, but we want information and we're looking for it. But sometimes it's better just to let things be.
Let things be. Yeah.
Especially like, I mean, come on, man.
I know a place like that. Oh, it's awful.
It's awful. Moving on. So for my, you're good with your island?
Yeah, I'm done.
The island of the carted away people?
Yeah.
Wow, that's really a lot of foliage.
Yeah.
Huh. A lot of foliage. Next was Edinburgh Castle, which is located in Scotland. This was kind of another interesting one, but it's also considered, Edinburgh is also considered the most haunted city in Europe.
That's cool.
Fun fact. One of the most haunted locations in one of the most haunted locations, not the most haunted, because it's kind of rare for somebody to be like, oh, this is like the most haunted.
Yeah.
In anywhere, states, not states, but yeah, this place had a pretty good dungeon where a lot of people have seen paranormal entities walking around. It's a dungeon.
Yeah, for sure.
People got thrown down there and, tortured or, just left there. It's like if somebody walks into this place and they don't like you, chances are you're going to be staying with them for a while.
Was it Edinburgh Castle?
Yes. Edinburgh. Yeah, this place they had like tunnels and it sits on top of a castle rock, leaving stuff out. In extinct, the castle rock was an extinct volcano that has been fortification for almost 2,000 years.
Damn. I wonder if they knew it was a volcano when they built on it.
That was I thought of that.
Probably not, right?
I thought of that, but probably not. Yeah, see, not like that, Tom. It's just like, it's almost like it's fallen in.
Yeah,
at some
for
point.
sure.
But, yeah. sorry. I'm thinking about the damn volcano. You go to a piece of land to build a castle, and you don't notice it's on a friggin' volcano. It never erupted.
That's good.
You wake up one morning and you're like, what is going on? Or do you?
Yeah.
The cliffs are about 400 feet above sea level. So if you think about where this castle is and being 400 feet, that's pretty high up.
Yeah, for sure.
Sorry, I'm looking at Kelly's pictures. I get distracted. I didn't really look up too many pictures, but the pictures we will post.
We'll put up pictures.
It has a bunch of different architectural styles. Where was that part that... Oh, the Hidden Underworld, it's called. Yes. A series of secret tunnels. It's called the Royal Mile. It's called. The Underworld is called the Royal Mile. One of these... Scotland's serpent past. Wow, including Mary, Queen of Scots, who lived there between 1561 and 1567, which tells you how old this place is. But a lot of people went
Crazy.
in. There was an interesting thing about a piper who resided at this place.
Yeah.
Are you on the same website?
I don't know.
I think you might be. So in order to explore these tunnels, they had a piper that played the bagpipes.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
The piper played the bagpipes, went down the tunnel so they could kind of like hear him and gauge the distance of the tunnel, but eventually he stopped playing the bagpipes. So then people... Instead
of like a rope or something, like being attached, like bagpipes, we'll measure the distance with bagpipes.
But he went down there playing his bagpipes, and he got further and further
awesome.
and further and further, and eventually they stopped. Then they sent people after him, but he was never found.
That's so weird.
Not even the bagpipes.
That's weird. And they didn't go like through to the end of the tunnel?
No. They searched, but
yeah,
they heard the bagpipes, and then the bagpipes stopped. And he was never found.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And he's still but his ghost is still seen.
Damn.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy. I was just kind of scanning this whole thing when I was looking at it the other day. And that whole thing was kind of trippy because how does that happen?
I know. How does he just like disappear?
Yeah, just poof.
That's crazy.
Many people also hear the sounds of drums within the castle. They've also seen, however, a few have seen the drummer, but they don't really know where he kind of came from.
Okay.
Kind of like the bagpipe player, although they knew of him.
Yeah.
They didn't know the drummer boy.
Maybe like after the bagpipes, they're like, "Yo, drums next."
That's true. Yeah, but
measure
a lot of
it with drums.
like they had dungeons where they would put people, prisoners, where they were often like tortured and they died down there. But that's there was crazy. One guy who wanted to kind of be free, so he got. You sleepy?
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it was your whole first castle.
I think it was the first castle.
The first castle.
I think it's the wine.
Maybe she's a tipsy informant.
Making me sleepy.
Yeah. But this guy apparently hid in a dung barrel.
Oh, ew. Like a poop barrel?
Yes. He hid in a dung barrel hoping to be carried out of the castle and down the Royal Mile to escape to freedom.
Heavy dung.
Yeah. So he unfortunately died when it was emptied down like a rocky slope of the castle. So they basically got rid of this shit literally by dumping it down a rocky path.
Oh my god, imagine that, like hiding out in a dung thing and you're like, oh, I'm getting to freedom, and then you fucking die.
Well, first of all, getting to freedom, it's kind of like the Shawshank Redemption, when he crawls through the pipe, the prison.
I haven't seen that movie in so long, I don't remember.
He, you know, he goes through the ship pipe and ends up in the shit river and then goes away, but same kind of thing.
Yeah.
The guy's in the dung barrel, and then they throw the dung barrel down the thing, and he perishes. That was his escape to freedom, but he died.
That sucks.
Yep. But visitors also say that he tries to shove them around. But they also smell a unpleasant smell.
Like shit?
Yeah.
Gross.
When he's around, you smell poop.
Yuck.
Nasty. And there's a picture of the vault beneath the castle that we can put up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean,
that fucking sucks.
It really does.
Those are like your last moments.
Like I don't have any names of the people who were you know tortured or killed or imprisoned, but it just comes back to a lot of these castles had all of this stuff. They had, or even prisons or asylums. They all had something going on downstairs where they would either get rid of people or like cremate people or get rid of them somehow, and people were like tortured and like all of that stuff. But it was bad.
Yeah.
And apparently, the one last thing I want to address was in the 16th century, Janet Douglas, which is the Lady of Glamis. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
The Lady of Glamis.
Yes, she was imprisoned and accused of witchcraft and conspiracy to murder King James. Yes. Yeah, and you know what they did? Well, they treated her like one. Because King James apparently was torturing people. And
nice.
Really nice. And I guess she, had a problem with that. But she was burned.
I wonder why.
She was burned at the stake on July 17th, 1537, while they bring out her young son. So she's being burned at the stake, and they bring out
Dude, they're so fucked up.
They bring out her son and force him to watch. And her spirit kind of resides too.
They're so fucked up.
Barbaric.
Yeah,
but
barbaric.
That's the way it was. That's just the way it was. If you
crazy.
Feel free to research these too, but I mean, like, all of these are kind of just different names, kind of the same type of castles.
Yeah.
Same shit happens everywhere.
Yeah.
History repeating
it's a bunch
itself.
Of bad people.
Well, yeah, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's not like now.
I know.
It's completely different. I mean, half the stuff we get away with, or half the stuff we get,
I know, the stuff
for.
we get away with, no, but the stuff we get away with now, we get away with, even though people still get arrested for really dumb shit, imagine, like, the stuff we do now, everyone would be, like, murdered.
Yeah.
Everyone would be, like, beheaded for, like, treason or witchcraft at this point.
Well, yeah, it's like if you steal something. It's like, oh, you stole
all
this.
right.
What hand did you steal it with? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You'll never steal again. I wonder
insane.
Why. Like, that was the way
at least
in some places.
At least start with a finger. I think even with a finger you'd learn a lesson.
Yeah, the hand is kind of extreme.
I cut off the thumb.
But
that made
all of these things.
Really hard.
All of these things happen basically to make a statement.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what a bunch of it is. It's basically to make a statement and assert your authority and your power. Basically, a lot of it is to basically be like, don't anyone else fuck with me, or this will happen to you.
So this whole podcast and all these stories about all these different places are long-winded. However, it all is about
it's like history
and making a statement, and yeah, on to the next one.
I know.
They're all interesting though.
Yeah. So this one is based in more recent times, which is kind of cool, I guess. Sorry, I had to burp. All right, so this is the Monte Cristo the Monte Cristo homestead in Australia.
Yeah.
Did you saw this one?
I saw Monte
interesting.
Cristo in Australia.
I don't know why it's called the Monte Cristo homestead.
I don't know either.
Not really sure.
No, I saw this one and then I kind of read about it and I was like,
yeah, it's interesting. So it was basically like a house and an estate built in 1884 by Christopher Crowley, or no, it's supposed to be Crawley, by Christopher Crawley.
oh, so that's a typo?
Yeah, it's a typo.
So Crowley.
Who was a farmer.
Crawley.
And it's kind of like a isolated house. It was built on top of a hill, which was overlooking the town of Junee.
Oh.
Yeah. And so when he died in 1910, and his wife Elizabeth Crawley remained basically in the house.
So she continued living there?
Yeah, she continued living there. And she only left twice after he died because she was like apparently so distraught, but she like dedicated herself to the Bible and religion and even supposedly like built a chapel inside the house.
Well, that's kind of cool.
And and so she lived there for another 23 years and
wow,
supposedly only left the house twice. I'm not sure if it was more than that, but according to
unless she sent somebody for groceries.
They had like house like maids and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So here's like there's a bunch of like weird,
that makes sense.
There's a bunch of like weird things and violent deaths that happen in this house over like the time from before Mr. Crawley died and even afterwards. There's just a bunch of crazy shit that happens with the house. So basically there was a maid that was pregnant, and supposedly she was pregnant with Mr. Crawley's love child. And she it's said that she committed suicide, but they're not really sure if she committed suicide or if she was pushed by Mrs. Crawley off the balcony and she died.
I don't think
she probably didn't commit suicide.
No,
she was probably pushed by Elizabeth Crawley, I would think. A stable boy purposely was burned to death by his
purposefully
burned to death by his like master, basically the person like his boss.
What could he have possibly done?
I don't know. They don't really say. A caretaker of the grounds was shot in 1961 at the house. And there's another thing that says a mentally disabled man named Harold was apparently chained up by his father for 30 years, and he was the caretaker of the house at one point. Wow. And he was basically, because there was like the caretaker's home, like a little cottage that was on the grounds, and so that's where this like
30 years
mentally disabled boy was like chained up.
That has happened. That I've read stories about.
It's crazy though.
Because parents have these kids.
Yeah.
And something is off, and they're like, nope.
Yeah,
because they just ass up and keep you there because we don't know how to deal with it. It's like they think it's like
an embarrassment, so they don't.
Absolutely.
So they want to like hide it.
Yeah.
So all of like that crazy shit happened. So this is kind of like all the haunting stuff that people see and like the spiritual stuff that people see. So Elizabeth Crawley's ghost is said to haunt the house, and basically whenever her presence is around, the air gets like ice cold. Like she's sucking all of the energy out of the room.
From different ghost things. They're like, oh my god, I'm freezing.
Yeah, because I think what it is they're like soaking up all the energy basically as they walk through a space. There's an apparition of a woman walking to the bloodstained steps, and this is believed to be the maid. Basically it said that there's a ghost that walks to like her spot where she died, and they think it's the maid after she fell off the balcony.
Maybe she was trying to help.
Yeah, either that or she's like walking towards where she died and she's like, oh my god, I'm dead. So Olive Ryan is the homeowner now for pretty much the past like 55
His name
years.
is Olive?
No, it's a woman.
Oh, her name is Olive? That makes it less weird.
Yeah. But so her and her husband lived at the house. I believe she still lives there. The article I read said like she was the homeowner for 50 years, and that was, the article was like from 5 years ago. So I believe she still lives there. But basically this woman, Olive Ryan, who lived there for really long time, basically said like she always felt a presence there, and like the day her and her husband were moving into the house, the electricity wasn't hooked up yet, but as they were like driving up to the house, every single light in the house was on.
Wow. It's
And
like,
then
hello.
as they got closer to the house, the lights slowly like turned off.
Wow. I wonder if like the lights were red. Or
No, I
if
think
they
it's
were,
just like normal.
lights.
I think it's just
'Cause
normal.
that would be cool. That'd be a cool movie.
That would be a cool
You
movie.
pull up to a house and it's like glowing red, and then
No, I think it was just normal lighting, but even
Yeah.
still, the electricity
Yeah, that's
wasn't
weird,
hooked
'cause
up. It wasn't, yeah. So there's no way
that's so
or
cool,
reason why it should be on. And her son Lawrence, I think he might live in the house now with his wife, but basically he grew up there when he was a kid, and he said he always felt like someone was watching him, and his wife Sophia believes that she lived in the house or she lived a past life in the house as a maid.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But
Oh.
yeah, so I don't know if maybe like if that's true, if she did live a past life in the house, like I wonder if maybe she was kind of like, if they were like drawn to each other because of the house, or
Maybe.
what, or maybe she's just like total bullshit. Who knows?
I don't know unless like the only thing we can go off of is what's been reported.
Yeah, but they basically say if like you don't believe in ghosts, come to this house and you'll believe.
Oh, you'll believe.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because they like really haunted places. They will definitely say that, and you may or may not experience it. Yeah, I guess it just depends on how sensitive you are
To that kind of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, my next one was it's called the Hill of Crosses, which is located
I'm interested to
in
learn about this.
Lithuania. It's I can't even. I've tried to say the name, but it's.
This is real quick. This is the Monte Cristo homestead, by the way.
Oh, that's pretty.
So it's like, yeah, it's like, it almost reminds me of like a plantation kind of a house.
It has
you know?
like this Oriental vibe thing going on.
Yeah, it kind of does actually. Now that, oh my god, it totally does.
Mhm.
All right, sorry. Go on.
No worries. We're low battery. We're still going, but there's a low battery
I
screen.
probably stopped recording.
No, it didn't. It's
Oh, it
still
didn't?
going. It's still counting. I can probably reach it.
I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Success.
I was
Got it.
surprised it was still recording during
Yeah,
that.
just low battery. But yeah, Sialui. That's the small country town that this Hill of Crosses is located, and it is literally what it sounds like. It is a hill of crosses. People have been brought there. It was established in 1236 and was occupied by Teutonic Knights in the 4th century. It's spread across the hilltop and has hundreds of thousands of Christian crosses raised to the sky as a testament to the faith and Lithuanian national identity. Nobody knows the exact number of the crosses because there is a lot. I mean, if you really want to go there and count them, you can, but chances are you're not going to be able to
Probably not.
count all 55,000 of them.
Yeah.
But in 2006, the number exceeded 100,000.
Damn.
100,000. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's a hill of crosses, but it's like a pretty hill of crosses.
Yeah.
I mean, the crosses aren't meant to be like negative.
Yeah.
They're meant to be like, oh,
It's probably
there's
meant to be
cross per
positive.
person, you know?
Yeah.
No one really knows when the tradition of leaving the crosses began, but it was believed that the first crosses were placed on a former fort, but I can't even say that. I can't even say that. Can you even say that?
Jurgatia. Jurgatia.
And Domanache.
Domanache.
Yeah, after the uprising in
probably wrong,
1831.
So what's like haunted about this place?
The place is haunted because I'm thinking that the energy that these people bring there. I mean, there's so many damn crosses.
Yeah, I know it probably does
about
like contain some crazy
part,
energy.
But where was that? But yeah, over the centuries, not only were there like small crosses, but they're just like in a cemetery. Sometimes there are small grave plots or whatever, and other times they're ginormous ones. Same thing here. There are small crucifixes.
I bet people too like put crosses
statues,
there after like loved ones die and stuff.
Statues of the Virgin, like Mary, and rosaries and all of that stuff. In 1795, Lithuania, it was part of the Russian Empire. Polish and Lithuanian rebels revolted without much of a chance of success against the Russian rulers in 1831 and 63. 1831 and 1863, just in case you were confused. Those two uprisings were the beginning of this whole thing. But yeah, if you see here, there's...
Alright, hopefully this will stay.
We're back. We had a snafu.
Okay.
We had a snafu with the battery being low and
running out of room again.
I don't blame it. I don't blame it on Kelly. I don't blame it on Kelly, but there's also a lot of stuff you gotta take off your phone.
Yes, for sure.
But yeah, so I was speaking of the what the hell is the Hill of Crosses in Lithuania. Yeah, a lot of crosses, a lot of people, a lot of past military people, past people in general, and their family members going there and putting, little crosses, big crosses, statues, all, for these people, but there's also energy with them.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
People reporting apparitions walking around, same as any other place. But here, if you look it up, there's a lot of crosses.
Yeah, it's crazy.
A lot of people have visited this place.
I know, I'm sure it's supposed to be good energy, but I feel like it would be kind of creepy to walk through it.
I would love to walk through that.
Yeah.
Well, not because I'd be like, oh my god, but it's just like you're in a space where you feel you're just ready to kind of like absorb what's going on there.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of emotion.
Yeah,
there's a lot
definitely.
of negative,
I think there's
positive.
probably a lot of emotion behind all of these crosses, which would definitely create a lot of energy, which would make sense why like there would be spirits and just maybe like some sort of paranormal entity there.
But this is kind of like one of those rarity places, because I've never really seen a place that was dedicated for people to come and gather and anybody.
Well, not pray, obviously that's church, but like pray, outside of the church.
I mean, you could if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just a hill of crosses, and it literally means that.
Yeah.
There's like a little pathway that goes around, and it's just filled.
So there's apparently some legend of this Lithuanian farmer whose daughter was like really sick and she was gonna die, and he, kept praying for her health and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess it said that one night he had a dream while sleeping beside his daughter that a woman dressed in white clothes asked him to build a large wooden cross and place it on the hill of the Domanche Fort. And the woman in white said that the cross was going to be basically a sign of faith and love for God, and it would heal his daughter. And apparently after he did this, he, made the first cross there, placed it up on this fort, and his daughter was apparently cured of her illness.
That's what I'm talking about.
Pretty crazy. Pretty crazy if it's true.
Well, yeah, it was just weird to come across, because I'm like, what is this place? Oh, like all the crosses. I mean, it's cool. Like they leave like little messages or like engraved stuff on the crosses, or put like something of the person
on the cross. Which would definitely bring a lot of energy too.
So that's why that is, one of the, one of the bigger ones on my list. Lithuania. I want to go there.
So we had a couple more places, but the episode is getting pretty long.
One more place.
So we had a couple more places to talk about, but this episode is getting pretty long.
It is getting pretty long.
So we're gonna wrap it up here, and we'll maybe do like a part 2 for you guys if you are interested.
Yeah.
And even if you're not, we're interested.
We are.
So we're gonna do it anyways.
We are. But we might, for future reference, episodes like this that are going to be on the longer side, we might break up into 2 parts.
Smaller
45
segments.
minute, 20 minute, whatever. But we'll figure that out.
Try to keep it maybe a little bit shorter.
We appreciate your support.
For sure.
Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you guys for watching.
And we are going to sign off.
Yep. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that thumbs up button.
Yep.
Follow us on Instagram. I'm going to be changing the Instagram name to the Tipsy Informants. So follow us there.
I need to start a Twitter for the Tipsy Informants.
Yes, we're going to be starting a Twitter. And now that we have our official name, we're going to be starting on Audio Boom, which is a platform that'll put our podcast on a bunch of different podcasting platforms like Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and a couple other ones.
And
so
I want to set up a Patreon in case anybody out there would like to support our cause.
Support the Tipsy Informants.
Support us.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.